Okay, good morning everyone and welcome. Before I go any further today, I would like us all to please put your hands over your hearts and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Congratulations everyone, for the next 10 minutes you are all officially God-fearing, righteous, independent American citizens. Welcome to your family. Now, I'll first give you an introduction to your new perspective of life. The year is 1956. We're currently in the middle of a Cold War and a post-World War II world where the Red Scare is flooding over America. 1956 also happens to be the year in which Minority Report, a science fiction short story, was written by Philip K. Dick. Now, what you can read here is the essence of our society. Freedom, liberty, justice. You're living in a modern-day capitalist paradise, which has shaped the world in Western society as it is today. As a nation, we stand for low government involvement, independence, the right to pursue one's American dream, and above all, freedom. And this is our society that Philip K. Dick is critiquing throughout Minority Report. Now, before we go any further, I have quite a scary announcement to make. Within our ranks, there is a criminal. And there is a criminal within us guilty of a crime so terrible they are guilty of treason. Yes, there is a communist spy within us. Now this spy threatens to take away all these things we hold dear to us. They threaten to take away our freedom, our liberty, our justice. As American citizens, when I identify this spy, it is your duty to alienate them, to isolate them, to ostracize them from your society. Not for just yourself, not for just your children, but for your nation. Now, I hold within my hand a piece of paper with said communist name on it. And that person is Roma Peterson. So here we go. There she is, the shock, the horror, it's disgusting. Now she shall be duly punished. Her freedom will be stripped from her. We will interrogate her and in extreme cases detain her. Similar things will happen to all family and her friends. Now before I continue with the punishment, would anyone like to see any evidence? Oh, well, unfortunately I can't show you any evidence because it is highly classified, but I can give you my personal guarantee that it is valid and just. Would anyone like to defend her? Keep in mind that should you defend her, you will be considered a sympathizer and be treated in a very similar way to her, and your family and friends will be treated the same way as her. Any defendants? No?
Sorry.
Didn't think so. So, there we go. The crime is just, and the punishment can continue. Now, I'm not just being a bully here. What I'm doing is trying to demonstrate McCarthyism, which is a period of American history which Philip K. Dick is critiquing throughout Minority Report. Now, first, an introduction into the world of Minority Report. Minority Report, as we stated, is a science fiction short novel set in a dystopian future in America. It follows the life of John Anderton, the creator and establisher and leader of pre-crime, an oppressive law control unit which uses the power of mutant pre-hogs to make predictions about all future crimes and arrest said criminal before the crime can be committed. Now, John's life is turned upside down when he gets involved in a conspiracy led by the leader of the army captain who intends to overthrow the oppressive and flawed system and take over. Now, Philip K. Dick explores this society through many means. And as you can see, here are the means by which he does so. There's sort of four main recurring themes of American society reflected in Minority Report, and these are McCarthyism, enforcement and treatment, hypocrisy, and freedom. And he explores these through techniques such as events, character, dialogue, and language. Now, first off is McCarthyism. Now, McCarthyism was a very significant period in American history which saw a period of institutionalized hypocrisy and harmful lies. It was encouraged by the Red Scare, which was a time when Americans were absolutely terrified of a communist spread and invasion into their country. As we've already demonstrated with Corona, they were genuinely terrified of these people. It's named McCarthyism due to the man who encouraged it, Senator John McCarthy, who is guilty of accusing thousands of innocent people of being communist spies and systematically breaking their lives down. Similar to what I just did there, he presented no just evidence or any explanation as to why he was doing it. Now, he told people of the evil within their country, and it's been likened to a period of witch hunts during the Middle Ages in other works of literature, such as The Crucible by Arthur Miller. Now, the reason Dick chose this period of contradiction in American society is because it's so effective. And one of the means through which he did so is through the character of Anderton. When Anderton and his colleagues make the discovery that he is an accused criminal, a frenzy ensues. Anderton becomes paranoid and suspicious of all those around him. And that's exemplified by this quote: "You're acting paranoid. Can't you see that? People plotting against you. Tell me, do you have any actual proof?" Now, the language manipulation used by Dick in this quote is very significant, and it's a blatant reference to McCarthyism. Now, I ask Rachel, which do you think, I mean, there's a slight visual hint here, but which do you think are the three sort of most significant phrases in this quote?
Paranoia, people plotting against you,
yes,
and actual proof.
Very good job, Rachel.
Thank you.
So yeah, these are obviously the three most significant lines in this quote, and it's just sort of a huge signpost to McCarthyism. Because in real American society, during this time, the people were paranoid. The people did believe there was someone plotting against them, and no, they had no actual proof. Furthermore, another way in which McCarthyism is explored by Philip K. Dick is through the experience Anderton has whilst he is accused of being a killer. He is subsequently alienated from society, and and as we've already demonstrated, he was labeled, he was an outcast, and one can draw parallels between this and the way in which real Americans were treated during the period of McCarthyism. And it's such an injustice. Keep in mind that Philip K. Dick reflects that the predictions of the precogs, which are the ones that justify Anderton's guilt, are found out to later be completely fallible and based on a flawed system. And similarly, the people accused by McCarthyism, it found out after future screening and investigation, all those people turned out to be innocent. It was a complete injustice. Now, moving on to the next point. There we go. Moving on to the next point. Enforcement and treatment in Minority Report. Now, this is a very significant concept, in which he uses the characters and their experience to explore the enforcement and treatment of victims to McCarthyism. Now, this quote: "Many men have been seized and imprisoned under the so-called prophylactic pre-crime structure," General Kaplan continued, his voice gaining feeling and strength, "accused not of crimes they have committed, but of crimes they will commit. It is asserted that these men, if allowed to remain free, will at some time commit future felonies." So through this quote, obviously the treatment of those victims is explored. They've been seized and imprisoned, and their freedom has been stripped away from them. Similarly, during the 20th century, during World War II, hundreds and thousands of Japanese civilians in America, regardless of their level of contact with Japan, regardless of how long they've been an American citizen, were seized and sent to internment camps. Their freedom was stripped from them with no just cause. And this is what Dick is trying to mirror with the concept of prison camps in Minority Report. In just the same way, innocent people are sent away and contained for the freedom of society. And there's other obvious similarities between enforcement and treatment which relate to both worlds: ostracization, exclusion, injustice, and injustice. Now, one may ask, is this true liberty? I mean, if we look back to our Pledge of Allegiance, is this true liberty? No. Is this true freedom? No. Is this the true American way? Philip K. Dick would argue, maybe so. Now, as you may have noticed throughout the course of this presentation, there's been several sort of power words which have been going around. And for example, you might think some of those words are like liberty, justice, independence, and freedom. And all these words are instantly reminiscent of American culture and society. But keep in mind what we've looked so far with the injustices of McCarthyism, with the hypocrisy of McCarthyism, with the treatment of innocent people. Do any of these words represent this in any way, shape, or form? No, they do not. Now, this brings us to the next topic of Minority Report: hypocrisy and contradictions in the world of Minority Report, reflected onto that of real American society. Now, Rhoda, at the beginning of this presentation, I convinced you of being a communist, yes? Now, could I get you one more time to read out the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, Vernon, in the way we treated you, did you feel in any way, shape, or form that liberty had been served? Did you feel any sense of justice? Did you feel any sense of freedom? No. So the way we treated you, keep in mind, I treated her in the exact same way McCarthy did, and very similar way to the precogs of pre-crime. It's a complete hypocrisy. And so this is Phil K. Dick's point, that there's a complete difference between the way the system in Minority Report is run and what it does. And this is evidenced by the quote, "If the system can survive only by imprisoning innocent people, then it deserves to be destroyed. My personal safety is important because I'm a human being." In one sense, this quote demonstrates hypocrisy because it's a clear outline from Anderton that he knows himself that the system is contradictory of itself. But also, it's more than that. This quote seems to be a manner in which the author can directly relate to his audience and share his views on American society. So, again, we can go back and say, through the techniques of, in this sense, dialogue, Philip K. Dick expresses his views on American society to make it a social commentary. Now, so the concept of freedom in American society, as you may have gathered, is a very significant one. It's said to be sort of our birthright, and sacred documents such as the Pledge of Allegiance, the Bill of Rights, the Constitutions, it's laid out for us and given to us. And in America we say that we are free to do whatever we want, to an extent. And there it is, those three little words, to an extent, which bring us to the next point in Minority Report that Philip K. Dick discusses, which is this concept of freedom, or rather lack thereof, or controlled freedom, which in itself is a huge contradiction. So as you can see, these things sort of interlink with each other. Now, freedom by definition means the power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. Now, from looking at the events of Minority Report and from looking at Trigger and Bruno, it's clear to see that this is not the case. There is no real freedom. This is evidenced by the quote, when Anderton is convicted of being a murderer, he is, and I quote, hereby declared a potential murderer, and as such forfeits his rights to freedom and all its privileges. So from a completely fallible system, he then sacrifices all his freedom, which begs the question to the reader, did he ever have any real freedom if it can be taken away from him so quickly? There's a sense of strong irony in this quote, and Philip K. Dick uses language manipulation to do so. For example, the line forfeits his rights to freedom is very ironic because A, it implies that it was his personal decision to sacrifice those rights, and B, it also implies that he actually had any freedom, and as we know, the system itself negates that freedom. So, in conclusion, as we can see from the various themes and techniques used by Philip K. Dick, it is evident the Minority Report is in fact a social commentary. All the techniques he used convey his personal views and message to the reader, as also conveying a sense of his time. Keeping in mind that Minority Report was a short story, so the language used is genuinely pragmatic and functional, as has been demonstrated. It's evident that he aimed to convey a message rather than paint a picture. So, as we've already gone through, all these different elements of the world of Minority Report can be compared to that of real American society. As we've gone through, the prison camps can be compared to the internment camps, the paranoia of Anderton to the paranoia of the general people. All of these put together make sure that Minority Report in no doubt is a social commentary. Thank you very much.
Well done, Steve. Okay, quick.